Hi, everybody. We're back again. So we had a couple episodes about television, so let's jump back to writing a little bit. I know we got really all kinds of different viewers. Gosh, I was so happy to see we're over 1,000 views so far, and we only reached out to a couple of fan sites, so we're very excited. Kim's going to start really doing a major outreach to a lot of other sites after we have done this soft opening, but we're very gratified by all of you jumping on and following along. I hope that you think it's beneficial, and also that you're enjoying this look behind the scenes in television and motion pictures. But today, let's talk about writing a little bit. And we've talked about the importance of characters. Plot, no question that it's very important. But as I've said before, I can't write down scene by scene every scene in Star Wars or even in Rocky, which I love. But I can certainly sit down and write 20 pages about Darth Vader or Apollo Creed or Rocky Balboa, because characters resonate. Great characters really, really resonate. But in order for you to develop those characters that are going to make your work into something really, really special, those characters need to come off of the written page. They need to not be just two-dimensional. They need to be three-dimensional. And they need to have all sorts of traits. Excuse me. When you're developing a character, you need to do so much research about that character before you write a word, before you even come up with the plot. You should come up with the characters first. If your character is a doctor, if your character is a taxi cab driver, if your character is a ditch digger or a CEO, you need to know so much about doctors, about ditch diggers, about CEOs, about taxi cab drivers. Each of those characters, nurses, teachers, whatever they are, they have their own life. They have their own jargon. They have their own world that they live in. And for your characters to ring true, you need to immerse yourself in them. Okay, so it's very important to do your basic research into what it is that they are. Doctor, tailor, spy, whatever they are. But beyond that, once you have done that, now you need to be an empath, okay? You need to live within that character. He may be a doctor, or she may be a doctor, but are they a murderer? Are they using their operations to slip their scalpel a little way because they want to get rid of somebody that they wanted to get rid of? Maybe it was their wife or their husband's lover, and they got an opportunity to get rid of them while they're in surgery. If it's a taxi cab driver, is it somebody that all their life, all they wanted to do was play the violin really well? And maybe they can't. Maybe that's the tragedy of their lives. So you've got to put yourself so much into that person. If you have a character that's a teacher by day, but a kleptomaniac at night, you need to know what that feels like. Now, I'm not telling you to go into, Saks Fifth Avenue or Myers, the grocery store, or wherever, and start stealing things. But I am telling you to go into a store with your mind being a kleptomaniac, and you see something that you're thinking about stealing, and push yourself mentally all the way up to the point that you do it. I sure don't want to hear that you've been arrested, okay? But push yourself all the way till that moment. And let your heart stop pounding. I'm quite sure that anybody that steals things, it's not like Hannibal Lecter where he killed somebody in Silence of the Lambs and his heartbeat never got up above 72 beats per minute. For most people, when they go into the dark side, when they're committing a crime, when they're doing something that's terrible, or even if they're doing something that's wonderful, something that's passionate, the heart responds, the respiration responds. So for you to really make your characters come alive, you have to live that. You have to experience that. So we've talked about the broad issues of a character, a doctor, ditch digger, whatever they are. And we've talked about the specificity of what motivates them if they're a hopeless romantic like the guy that you're looking at. I'm a tough business guy, but man, I'm a hopeless romantic, okay? Whatever that character is, you need to know that specificity. Specificity. Oh, jeez. Wow. Specificity. Okay. You need to know what they are specifically. So there's one other element that rounds out your characters and takes them from being two-dimensional and makes them three-dimensional. And that is detail. Everybody in this life, all the people you pass on the streets, everybody has a story. And you know what? Every human being that you ever meet, no matter how close you are with them or how distant you are with them, every single person has a secret, okay? Yeah, you can call it skeletons in the closet, whatever you want, but everybody has a secret. The detail, that detail of their secret, whether you use it or not in a book or in a screenplay, as long as you know it, it shapes that person and makes them different than somebody that you're just typing about and this is it, the character's there. No, know what their secret is. Know what that detail in their life that they wouldn't share with anybody else. 40 years ago, I read a short story. Can't tell you who the author was, can't tell you what the story was about, but there was a line in there that I never forgot. The writer said she was 63 years old, and all her life she had slept naked, and no one knew it. Wow, that speaks volumes about a person. The loneliness, the despair, the fact that nobody knew the inner essence of this woman. That's detail, okay? So that's the kind of thing that you should look for. Jack's tip jar, you get 2 for 1 today. Years ago, when my son Alex, Kim and my son Alex was a little boy, he was about 6 or 7 years old, and he always was a creative kid. And one day he walks into the living room. It was in the days when they used to have DVDs, and he takes Star Wars and he puts it into the DVR player, VCR. And he says, "Dad, I want you to watch this." Now, I got to tell you, he's 6 or 7 years old. And he plays the scene when Darth Vader's ship lands on the Death Star, and the bottom comes down, and all the troops are lined up, and Darth Vader walks down off of the ramp. And as he's walking it down the ramp, Alex says to me, "Dad, listen to this." And of course, it's booming. Dum, da-da-dum, dum, 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 da-da-dum, dum, dum. Everybody said attention. So then he rewinds it and he says, "Now watch this." And he mutes it and he hits it again. The ramp comes down. Darth's walking off the ship, and it's muted. And Alex is saying, "Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Darth. Happy birthday to you." And of course, I'm cracking up, and I know what his point's going to be, and I'm not saying anything. I said, "Well, what do you come from? What do you get out of that, Alex?" He says, "Music." And it was a profound statement. And it's why I say you can learn a lot from kids if you shut up and listen to them sometimes. He said, music is a whole separate character. Wow. Man, was he right. What would Rocky be? And I know I use Rocky a lot without da 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 da. What would it be without that music? Okay. And so many other films, television shows, what television show is it? You want to go where everybody knows your name, okay? I don't care if you're older or younger. You know I'm talking about. Cheers. It's a character. So obviously when you're writing, you can certainly reference a song if you want to have a certain song play. I've done that with some of my Christmas movies that I just finished writing scripts for. But for you, it's good for you to have, not always, but once in a while, some music playing in the background. Something that stirs you, okay? I don't care if it's Sinatra, if it's Def Leppard, whatever the heck it is. If it's something that stirs you, every once in a while, play that music. And another thing that I want you to remember, when I talk about being empathetic and living through your characters and feeling their emotions, it's so important for you to do that. When they are happy, you need to be elated. When they are sad, you need to be crushed. Think of the moment that was one of the saddest things for you. Okay, my mother dying from breast cancer after she'd beat it for 10 years. That was a sad moment for me. I remember Kim and I were in a restaurant in the Bahamas, and I was taking her to the airport, and she was leaving after we'd had a wonderful weekend. And she looked at me. I had never seen sadness like that on somebody's face. She was sad to be leaving. So tap into those kinds of emotions. If you're writing a tragic scene or a triumphant scene, and I'll go back to Rocky. Rocky wins at the end, and he's screaming, "Adrian, Adrian." I'm holding myself back. And she comes into the ring, and he says, "I love you." And she says, "I love you too, Rocky." If you were Sylvester Stallone and you were writing that scene, let me tell you, no matter how tough Stallone was, no matter how tough this guy that was a former U.S. Air Force search and rescue combat medic getting lowered off of a hoist to train to pick up down pilots, no matter how tough we are, if you're writing that kind of a scene and you're not shedding tears, then there's something wrong with the scene. You've not done all you could do. So feel those emotions, okay? It's very, very important to feel those emotions. Last thing I'm going to tell you, Jack's tip jar, tip number 2. It's important for you to have what I like to call prompts. Prompts, something that will prompt you to something. That line about that woman that slept naked all of her life and she was 63 years old and nobody knew about it. If you had never heard about that line and you woke up in the middle of the night and you thought about that line, write that sucker down, okay? Because that's a prompt. If you see something on the street and somebody's doing something despicable, Write that down later. Kim and I were watching television the other day, and it said this was a real story. This woman's walking down the street. She takes off her glove, and her wedding ring comes off of her finger, and it goes down a rain grate. And she's crushed. I mean, it's a commercial. And people are gathering around. This one guy comes with a light and he shines it down there. He can't see anything. And they raise the grate, and he goes down inside, and he walks in the water and the muck, and he can't find anything. And all of a sudden, something glints, and he sees her wedding ring, and he brings it out of the grate, and he hands it to her. Man, if you see something like that and you don't write it down, you've missed a prompt. I don't know when you'll use it, but if you see something that tugs at your heart or makes you smile or makes you laugh or makes you so damn angry, write it down. Don't forget it, okay? Because it's like quicksilver. It'll vanish in a heartbeat. So that's writing for the day. I think we'll do one more episode where we talk a little bit about writing, maybe screenplays and television. Then we'll kind of jump back to some of the animated shows that I've done that hopefully you've grown up on and enjoyed and look back and it brought you a smile. So we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.